everything worth doing is hard. Have you ever heard of this before? Because I've heard of it many times and I've really believed it to be true, and I still kind of do to an extent. But I want to talk a little bit about the dangers of having this kind of a belief. And I've made a similar video in the past, but this one is going to be slightly different and it's going to actually be way, way deeper. Okay, so if you've really come to have this belief and you're starting to think because of this belief that everything in your life is hard and that's good and you should allow it to be hard, and you're really struggling because of that, like I am, you will really want to listen close for this one. So first, let's start with beliefs in general. Let's start with understanding why a belief is not necessarily either correct or wrong. So when you look at beliefs, it doesn't make sense for you to say that, oh, this belief is 100% correct or wrong, because based on the context upon it is used, it's going to either be helpful or it's going to be detrimental. And that is what you want to consider. Everything in life is nuanced, okay? Everything is nuanced, and you want to be, of course, looking at things from that understanding, from that perspective of the nuance. Okay, so let's consider this specific belief of things being hard, that things can't be easy. Things shouldn't be easy because the easy things aren't good things. It's only the bad things that have value, the difficult things that have value. Okay, so let's consider different kinds of contexts where that can be helpful and that can be detrimental. First, starting with how it can be helpful and then with how it can be detrimental to really help you understand how your mind might be, how you're using your mind to interpret your life, might be what's making your life even harder than it might actually need to be. And I've already hinted at that just by saying this. But let's look at the context of a belief of things being hard, that life is hard, that good things, for you to actually get to attain good things, you have to struggle. You have to go through so much pain and so many obstacles for you to get to the good things you want, okay? A context in which that can be extremely, extremely helpful is, for example, your health, okay? Let's say, for instance, that you're trying to escape from your life. And because you're trying to escape from your life, you are using food or you're using alcohol or whatever. You are doing that so you can escape your life because you don't want to look and deal with the actual problems that are your life. Well, in that context, of course, it's going to be beneficial for you to think of the fact that, oh yeah, this feels easy right now, but I shouldn't do that easy thing because I need to face the problem that's actually in front of me. In this context, it's 100% going to be important for you to actually potentially not drink or eat. But even with this thing that is generally correct, even though it's generally more correct to, of course, face the problem and not indulge in the thing you really love and the thing that numbs you, even that is very nuanced, because there are going to be times where it will be okay for you to, of course, give in, right? And for you to enjoy the thing you love, whether that's alcohol or something else. Maybe unless you're an alcoholic and you've been struggling with that, maybe you should stay away from that forever. But you know what I mean. It's fine for us to kind of cut ourselves some slack and enjoy the things that we really, really love. But how can this be detrimental? How can this be extremely detrimental in our lives? This can be very detrimental because if we believe that things have to be hard, that life is just hard, it's just how it is, what that tells your brain is to only start recognizing how difficult things are in your life. There is this thing in our brains called the reticular activating system, and that is basically what makes you identify certain things in your environment based on what you're thinking. If your belief and constant thoughts that run through your mind are that things are hard, then if you're in a specific situation where you could be getting out of it very easily, what your mind is going to do is going to fabricate reasons for why what you're dealing with is hard. Okay, so you see how this can be so detrimental to hold this kind of belief. In many contexts of your life, this is going to be so harmful, because although in certain ways it can be helpful because it will make you, of course, do the hard things and face the hard things that you need to face for you to achieve the things that you want to achieve in your life, it's also going to be the one thing that is going to make your life more fucking difficult if you don't recognize that, oh, wait a moment, things can also be easy. This thing can be easy. I don't have to struggle here. Everything, most things at least, are in our minds. Okay, so that means that you can look at your specific situation through a completely different lens. And if you decide that something is easy, guess what your brain is going to do? It's going to start giving you all the evidence, right? The reticular activating system is going to kick in, and it's going to identify everything in your environment that makes your problem easy to get out of. And what that is going to do is going to make your life and experience just so much more enjoyable. Even if things are still hard in your life, they're gonna feel so much different. Your experience is going to be so different. Okay? Do you see what I'm trying to say here? But I want to go even deeper with this. Okay? So, if you hold this belief that things have to be difficult, I want you to consider whether potentially you've lived your entire life like that and where that's coming from. Because I've realized something for myself today, and I wanted to share with you and with other people, because I think maybe it's something that a lot of people are struggling with because of our life experiences so far. And not just because we've heard people say online that, oh yeah, you shouldn't do the easy thing, you should do the hard thing, because it's the hard thing that's going to get you to your goals, right? Which is also nuanced, because you need to consider what the goal is. Because based on your goal, if your goal is to have fun, well, guess what? The answer is going to be you do the easy thing. It's just everything is just so nuanced when it comes to this. And I want you to just look at everything in your life through that nuanced lens, especially when it pertains to certain beliefs you have, because those beliefs are going to potentially determine the outcome you're going to get in your life and how much enjoyment you're going to derive out of your life, okay? So I looked at that belief, I looked at the fact that I hold that belief, and I questioned, wait, where does this belief come from? Is it someone that's actually taught me to believe this, or whatever happened here? And I realized that I actually learned to believe that myself indirectly. Okay, so people didn't tell me that, oh, things are hard and you have to work hard to get what you want, right? I didn't actually get told this like growing up or something. But what I did have to go through in my life is I always had to work hard to get to achieve certain things, okay? And this is where it starts to get really deep, and what might apply to you as well. And if you actually have this, you might not recognize it immediately. So I want you to potentially take a second to really think through this to see, okay, this is something that might hold true in my own life as well. So I realized that, wait, all of my life, what I've been doing is I've been working really hard to say, get good grades. Or I've always been like, say, the good kid, right? I have a brother, for example. I've always been the obedient kid. And my brother has always been that child that does whatever the hell they want and that causes trouble. I was the very obedient kid. Or even like at school with friends and stuff, or with classmates, I wasn't really a liked kid, okay? I've been bullied a lot in my life, like a lot. And what I realized from all these experiences was that, oh, wait a minute. I'm actually trying to do the hard things in my life, and I'm trying to kind of get to my goals the hard way, because I believe that I've somehow made myself believe in my life based on these experiences. That's something I've internalized. I started thinking that for me to be able to get approval from others, for me to feel like I'm good enough, I had to work hard. Because whenever I worked hard, That is, whenever I worked hard to get good grades, I got approval. Whenever I worked really hard to make people like me, I got approval rarely, right? You don't, that's the thing. When you do that in your childhood, when you're trying to please people, and you might have tried to please people in this specific way, you might have tried it by working too hard, by trying too hard. And so you might have just internalized this idea that, oh, I'm only gonna be liked if I try really hard. I'm only gonna be liked if I work super hard and people recognize my hard work and they recognize what I've done and what I've achieved. That is going to give you praise and that is going to make you feel good. And doing that as a child, of course, as a child, you're not able to recognize the nuances of things. So you're just gonna see things as black or white. So you might have realized, okay, so I need to achieve things, I need to work hard to achieve things, because then that is going to get me the approval. And that is when I'm going to feel good enough. Okay? And that is what you're carrying into your adulthood. If you're an adult watching this, or even if you're a teenager watching this, right? You're going to carry that into adulthood. And you will be trying to work really, really hard just so you can feel good enough, just so you can prove to those people of the past that are still haunting you in your mind that, look at me, I am good enough. I am doing incredible things. I'm doing all these hard things. I'm getting great results, right? Maybe in your career, for example, so you're doing extremely, extremely well, and you're like, see, like you're talking to your demons in your head, see, I am good enough. I'm achieving all those things, and I'm working so hard. But what you're actually doing is you're feeding that demon. You're not killing it, you're feeding it. I mean, I don't think you should kill it either. You should accept it and look at it lovingly and just look at it for what it is. It's not trying to harm you, it's just something that you've carried with you, and it's kind of something that you can work through right now, and it's there for a very good reason, and you can use it in a smart way for you to move away from the current problem that you're facing. So that is what I wanted to share today, okay? If you hold this belief that things have to be hard, that you have to work really hard, it might be going as deep as this. If you realize you've just seen this pattern in your life where you've always worked hard and maybe you feel like it hasn't gotten you that far, you might be doing that. You might have been doing that just so you can get approval and just so you can feel good enough. But I think one thing that might actually happen if you start doing this, which I actually recognizing this for yourself, and I want to warn you there, is that you might suddenly have a phase in your life where you start getting lazy and you start not really doing anything in your life, okay? Because your brain might start thinking, oh, hell, I've been doing this all of my life, and you might just have it like a crisis, okay? And that crisis might lead you to stop taking action. But of course, for things that you really want to do in your life, there are going to be obstacles to face on the path, like I said at the start of this video, and that is completely okay and normal. But remember to always ask yourself, am I making things harder? Can things be easier here? Or am I just doing it because of this belief in my mind that, oh, I have to do the hard thing here? Or your brain is just looking at all the hard things and is giving you all the evidence, it's serving you all the evidence that things are hard and that things have to be hard. But you get to be the one that questions that, and the one that actually breaks that loop that's been created. So I hope that helps, and I hope you really have potentially recognized that in yourself. If it's true, if you're watching this far, it should be. So if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel if you're new, and take this seriously. Really take a moment to consider this, to write about it in your journal potentially, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.